Bulldog sign. We're excited to have students back on campus. Oh, well, let's just pause that. All right, let's try this again. So we're here tonight to talk about the Crestwell High School and hybrid in-person plan. And what's important to know, and you probably saw this in your letter, is that in the morning, CDL will still happen for all students. So all students still need to log into comprehensive distance learning Zoom classes in the morning. And then in the afternoons, we will continue learning for those students who want to come onto campus in A and B groups. And then those who choose to stay in CDL will have asynchronous learning time. And there may be opportunities where teachers invite students into the classroom if they're going to maybe be doing a lab or going to be presenting something, and it's easy enough to have a camera be a part of that. They may ask CDL students to join that hybrid time in the afternoon if they're available. And then student groupings, you probably by now should have received a letter that said which group your student is in. We have had to make some changes to those groups, but we did call each of those people and students, parents and students, to let them know. And we will be sending out postcards to those changes only. If you did not hear from us that your group was changed, then whatever your group letter was in the letter that we sent out, it's still that one. And so those groups are pretty solid. The changes came because our classrooms can only hold so many students at a time, and we had some that were over capacity. So we had to start the ripple effect of changing some students' classes. So that way we can maintain those social distancing parameters that are set by the RSSL. So here is the schedule that I just talked about. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are the learning days. Wednesday is the same as it has been all year. Office hours for all students are 7:45 to 8:15 in the morning. And then comprehensive distance learning after spring break will switch to 8:30 in the morning to 11:25 a.m. And we needed to make that shift so that we could get a transportation time in there in the middle, so that we can get students to campus, whether they drive, whether they're going to be dropped off or they ride the bus. We needed to make sure we have that travel time in there. And then the arrival times vary, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes when students need to be on campus. And then hybrid runs until 3:45. So on Mondays, you can see the schedule, and Tuesdays, same schedule. The difference being that Group A students come on Mondays and Thursdays, and then Group B students come on Tuesdays and Fridays. So, whoops, sorry about that, Tuesdays and Fridays for the Group B students. And then we have office hours on Wednesdays from 10:30 to 11:30, and those are only for students in CDL so that we can have some time set aside for those students who are not coming onto campus to also have access to teachers. And let's see here, I'm gonna switch to the next slide. So this is the daily schedule. Again, same thing, morning CDL for everybody. 8:30 to 9:10 is first period, 9:15 to 10:55, 10 to 10:40, and then finally fourth period, 10:45 to 11:25. At 11:25, students will have the opportunity to travel to school. Teachers have a minute to get lunch. It's just that transition time until 12:20. And here's the important piece, and probably the question that I've been asked the most is, my student's not going to eat lunch. Do they still have to be to campus at 12:20? Can they get there at 12:45 or 12:40? Unfortunately, right now, the answer is no, because we have to stagger our arrival times. The earliest that the bus can get to campus is 12:30. So in order to maximize our afternoon time, we need students who drive and students who walk to be on school prior to that. So students who drive or are dropped off need to get to the school at 12:20. If you are driving yourself, you will get out of your car, and you'll line up at the main entrance of the walkway main entrance. If you are a student who's dropped off, we need for cars to pull up a little farther, and then those students will line up along the gym wall. And in both cases, we need to make sure that students are maintaining 6 feet social distancing and that they are not congregating in those areas, but actually lining up and observing the 6 feet expectation. And then students who ride the bus will be dropped off at 11:30, and students who walk will come at 12. My goodness, I don't know my times right. Let me strike that all over. Students who walk will come at 12:25. Students who ride the bus will get here at 12:30. Both of those groups of students will use the entrance on the east side of the building. I hope I have my directions right. It's the Commons entrance. We will have signs out there. We will have staff out there. We will make sure that students know where they need to go when they get to campus. But just so you know, those are the entry points for getting students into the school. When students come in, we will offer them a brown bag lunch. So if a student gets here at 12:20, they get their lunch, they can go to the classroom and eat it. That way, the students who come in at 12:30 are just those bus riders, the few kids who need to eat. If we can get class started earlier than 12:35, or excuse me, 12:45, that's our goal, so that we can put that time back into instruction. But for the first couple of weeks, we're going to really kind of try to stick to the schedule. And then the periods are listed there in the afternoon with sanitization in between periods. So as students get ready to leave, they will have the opportunity to wipe down their learning space with a wipe that is safe, and it kills the germs in 1 minute. So as they're leaving the classroom, that space will be wiped down and clean for the next group to come in. And then upon leaving, the last class is at, whoops, I keep clicking. The last class is ends at 3:45. And so we're gonna do a bit of a staggered leave as well. Get students who ride the bus out to the bus, students who are staying on campus for sports activities, hang out, and then those students who are walking or being picked up, drive, can head out to the Commons. And we'll do the same process in the afternoon, that one group of students will go out the Commons door, another group the other groups will go back through the doors that they came in. All right, next slide. So we talked about this a little bit. Meals will be provided. We are going to do an initial lunch count this Thursday, the 18th. Teachers are doing an orientation with students in their classes on the 18th. And part of that will be a Google form for students to fill out to let us know whether or not they're interested in eating lunch on campus or being served lunch. That way we don't end up with 120 lunches if we only have 70 that are going to eat. So it's important that students get that form filled out on Thursday with their teachers. But lunch will be handed out brown bag style. They will be given a lunch. Students will actually also be given breakfast at the same time. And the milk for the breakfast will come partially frozen to preserve it until the student gets home or they're ready to drink it. Lunch needs to be eaten in the classroom or outside a class if your teacher chooses to take you out there. It's beautiful in the courtyard out there right now. So if a teacher wants to take students outside to socially distance and eat their lunch, then that will be an opportunity as well. Masks may be removed temporarily while students eat. And if you choose not to eat, your mask needs to stay on. And then food can only be consumed between 12:20 and 12:45. Brandon, are there any questions that I should answer now, or you got it going? All right. So These are kind of the rollout dates. So on-campus orientation, March 29th. That's the same schedule that we follow for any day. So students will get up in the morning, do their CDL classes, and then they'll come on campus at 12:20, 12:25, 12:30 to run through their afternoon schedule. So March 29th will be a practice of how we're moving through the hallways, just going over, hey, welcome back to school. We haven't been here for a year. We're excited to see you. So just spend some time with our students, let students spend some time with each other and just get back in the swing of being on campus. So we're just excited to have you guys here. We will repeat that again on the 30th for the B group. And then April 1st, we'll be ready to roll with A group in their classes. And on that Friday, April 2nd, will be the B group. So some of these safety protocols you may have seen before if you attended the LIPI orientation, but masks must be worn. If you have a student that, if you guys are buying masks or have made masks, you just need to make sure that they have 2 layers to them. And even the thinner ones that you maybe have purchased, as you pull them apart, you can see that they have multiple layers to them. So especially fabric, they need to make sure that they have 2 layers to them. We'll just kind of perform a visual screening as students come in the door. We will take their temperature. And then we will continue to sign contact tracing sheets. So what will happen is students will line up, we'll take their temperature, they will go to their first period class and teachers will have them sign in on the contact tracing sheet at that location. And we'll keep those for the week, and then they get brought to the office and we house them here in case we need them for any reason. And then if any student, parent, staff member is experiencing any symptoms related to COVID or COVID symptoms themselves, we just ask that they stay home. If you've been in contact with anybody who is a presumed case or a confirmed case of COVID, again, that folks just stay home and then contact the school for when you should return and what those protocols look like according to the CDC and Lane County Public Health. These are not new. Again, these have been out before, but signs or symptoms of COVID: cough, fever, temperature, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, new loss of taste or smell. And then there are other symptoms that are non-primary symptoms: fatigue, muscle body aches, headaches, sore throat, nasal congestion, runny nose, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. All of those things, especially the nausea, the vomiting, diarrhea, those are all reasons for students to stay home, regardless of being in a pandemic, and just making sure that in those cases you're symptom free. And again, contact us, and we're happy to walk you through the process of when your student should return to school. We talked about this already, but again, upon coming into the building, students need to wear masks. If they don't have one that day for whatever reason, or if they need to get one here, we will provide it. If you ride the bus, you will also have to have a mask, but they do need to be 2 layers thick. That doesn't mean that you have to wear 2 masks. It's just that most masks come made with 2 layers. And if you come to the bus stop and don't have one, you'll be given one prior to getting on the bus. And if you come to school without one, we will have one here for you to wear. And then our sanitization practices here: wash your hands or use hand sanitizer. We'll do that when you transition. We have new hands-free, touch-free sanitization stations. We have both the hand sanitizer that's touchless, but we also have kind of the hand washing stations that you might see like at the county fair, that students don't have to touch it. They can just step on the pedal to get the water to come out and the soap to come out. So we have added spaces to make sure that students have the opportunity to wash their hands frequently, because we know that that's one of the ways to prevent the spread of germs. And so we will encourage students to do that as they are here on campus as staff as well. And we will be frequently wiping down high touch areas, doorknobs, that sort of thing, holding doors open while students go through so that they can touch as few things as possible. And then again, asking students to pack up all of their stuff. We'll get desks wiped down in between classes transitioning. So slide 11, maybe. Physical distancing requirements. Again, that's 6 feet physical distancing. In all spaces, the classrooms have been laid out so that that 35 square foot safe space is in each classroom, which is why we really have to do the A day and the B day. Some of our classes only hold so many students. We can't at this point get a full class in to most of our classrooms and maintain that safe social distancing. We have limited passing time and students will not be able to use their lockers. And so limited passing time will just encourage students to move quickly to their next class and not to congregate in hallways or doorways. And then restrooms will be closed during passing time, just because we have to limit the number of students that are in the restroom at any one time, but they will be allowed to use the restroom during class time, just again, to avoid that congestion that can sort of happen around a bathroom space. We have set our hallways up to be one direction to the extent possible. When your hallways are set up like an H, there's going to be part of it that will be two-way, but we have put signage out on the floors. We'll have teachers in the hallways directing students where they should go. We will set up protocols for exiting part of the building out into the commons while the next group comes around and goes into classes, just so that we're taking every precaution to maintain social distancing and keep students from crossing and intersecting in the hallways. And if we do have a student that's, says, hey, I don't feel good, something's going on, cough, cold, fever, that sort of thing, they will be quietly asked to just get their belongings and come down to the office where we will call parents and determine next steps for getting that student home. Nurse will review the symptoms and then decisions will be made around contact tracing and what our next steps are with Lane County Public Health and our school nurse. So, and then we are just excited to have students back on campus. Brandon said that my slideshow just sort of dropped off and was not very exciting. He was supposed to put a song together for you guys. I think he declined my request, but maybe next time we'll get Brandon doing a song for us. All right, what about questions, Mr. Standridge? What do we got?
Well, I answered a lot of them, or all of them in the chat. Essentially some clarification on taking CDL in the morning and then having the same classes in the afternoon, what that would look like, for teachers. So I might want to speak to that a little bit.
What that would look like for teachers or for students?
Well, for students in their classes, what the expectation is.
Sure. So in the morning is the comprehensive distance learning time. That's really going to focus on the content of what's going on in the class and present that material to teachers, or students. A lot of times then students are sent away with projects or they use breakout room time to work in groups. There may be asynchronous learning opportunities where the learning is extended outside of the classroom. So in all of those cases, students who choose to come into hybrid, rather than doing that asynchronous learning on their own, may be coming in, instead of doing breakout rooms, maybe groups are happening here. It would be a time for students and teachers to just catch up on a lesson that maybe students need help on. Use that time just to kind of dive deeper into the content that happened in the morning so that students have access to their teacher in person to get any help in regards to areas that they may not have understood as well. So the afternoon time can take on lots of forms. We just want it to be useful and extend that learning that's happening in the morning into an in-person environment.
Okay, some questions about what to bring to school when they're coming in.
Yeah, bring as little as possible is what I would say. Just bring what you need. You need to bring your Chromebook with you. You need, if you have a laptop that's your own laptop that you've been using from home, you can choose to bring that. It is at your own risk. If you do not have a school issued Chromebook, we need to get one issued to you. If you choose not to bring your own personal device in, just bring those things that you know you're going to need for class. Maybe a backpack, a jacket that you can shove in your backpack or put on the back of your chair. Just know that you don't have access to your lockers. And we want to avoid bringing in all kinds of extra stuff onto campus. So. Mr. Standridge is checking the questions.
Yeah, I was answering. Do you say backpacks? Anything about backpacks?
I think that because I know that we're going to have walkers and people that will need to have stuff in backpacks. Yes, backpacks are okay, but if not a great big huge rolly backpack that you might take on an airplane, just the size of a bag that you would need to get your essentials in for that day.
I'm all caught up on questions so far, so.
Okay. We don't really have anything super, we don't have anything fun and super planned for our presentation tonight. Just wanted to get you the information, give you an opportunity to answer questions or ask questions that we can answer. And we're here for the next few days. If you do have questions prior to the end of the week that we didn't address here, I think we hit the highlights. Make sure you bring your mask, prepare to socially distance. Excuse me. Make sure you bring your Chromebooks. Know that you can't congregate in the hallways. A group comes on Monday and Thursday. B group comes on Tuesday and Friday. And don't forget to ask your teachers about filling out the Google Forms so that we can see who wants lunch, so that we can have that ready for you when you come back from spring break.
Question about sports and locker rooms. I'll just answer really quick. Yeah, we have the ability to use locker rooms after school for those kids that are on campus. Essentially, just need to stay socially distanced, wear their masks, and they can change. If we have football bags and gear like that, we can find a place to store them so they're not lugging them around all the time, whether that be in a locker room themselves or in another storage area. So we'll, depending on the need for that and how long or how much we have of that, we will have a place to store those.
And I saw a question about when they need to get picked up. 3:45 is when the last class gets over, so students can get picked up at 3:45. And then I saw something in there about, are those considered double masks? I'm not sure what that was in reference to. Was that in reference to gaiters or?
No, disposable masks.
Disposable masks. Yes, I looked at those and actually you can pull them apart and see that there's 3 layers of filter in the disposable masks. Yeah, so the mask thing, sure. Masks just need to have double layers. So like, I think these ones come from Bimart, plug them because that's where it came from. And they are double layered. The other thing about these ones is that they do have pockets that you can stick filters into. So I actually have filters that go into this, but masks just need to have a double layer of fabric or come from the manufacturer double layered. And most masks do, even the thinner ones that feel like they may not be 2 layers actually are. 2 layers. And students will have the opportunity to take a mask break if needed, out in the courtyard or somewhere away from other students. I would say over spring break, if students haven't been wearing a mask, that they might just put one on and wear it around for a couple hours, get their ears worked in. It's kind of like when you switch from your regular shoes to your flip-flops in the summer. Your toes are a little sore in the first couple of weeks. Same thing happens with the straps on the ears. So if they haven't done that, it might be a good idea. Some students have asked about gaiters, the ones that just are like cowls. Typically, those are not double layered. So if a student chose to wear that, they would just need to fold it over and double that up. So hopefully that asks. What if my child does not have a Chromebook, he uses his own laptop? The students are welcome to bring their own laptops if that's what they feel comfortable using. We just need them to understand that we are not responsible for lost, broken, or damaged items as they transition in the hallways. As long as they feel like they can be careful with it and keep it safe, they're welcome to bring it. If you would prefer they have a school issued a Chromebook, just give us a call here at the school so that we can work to get that ready for them on the first day that they come. It looks like we have, oh, there's a question. What if the student is, it is, thanks Jennifer. At this point, we do need for students to come for their set schedule. And part of that is once, if we were to open that up, then we'd have students coming and going at all times, and we're not able to manage the cohorts, which is part of the requirements in the RSSL, Ready School Safe Learners, that we are managing entry points when kids come onto campus, leave campus. And so it's no longer an open campus. If students don't have a first period, like some seniors don't have a first period, they would not need to come until second. But if a student were like to have a first period, not have a second period, but then also have a third and fourth, then we would find them a space on campus to do their work. We're really just trying to keep a handle on the entry points and the cohort movement throughout the school. So it is sort of an all or none at this point when students choose to come. Anonymous attendee, my teachers said class stuff isn't graded. Is this correct? There may be extensions of assignments that are graded. There will not be new information presented during that time that is not also made available to students who are choosing to stay in comprehensive distance learning. So there may be an assignment that is done during the afternoon in hybrid that would be presented to students in comprehensive distance learning asynchronously. So it is true that maybe not all assignments are going to be graded in hybrid, but that doesn't mean that some won't be. It depends on the class. It depends on what the assignment is for that day, and how teachers are running their schedule. So yes, there could be work that is graded during that time, and then it would just be assigned asynchronously to students in CDL. It would be assigned for them to complete on their own. So when your child comes in at 12:20, we'll be going through, if your child doesn't need lunch, we again have to stagger our entry points because we can't have everybody out in the front all at once. So they will have access to their teacher. They will be able to visit with the friends that they have in that class. They can get ready to get their schoolwork out. We hope that after the first couple of weeks, we have this down to a science and maybe that time becomes shorter. We're just really hedging our bets here in the first couple of weeks of getting this started to make sure that we have built in sufficient time to make sure that we're safely going over and practicing all the protocols that we need to practice to keep kids safe in school. And I'm just checking the questions here. I move the chat over to my screen. Does that block the PowerPoint, Mr. Standridge? No?
Nope.
Okay. Any other questions that we can answer for y'all? And we just want to say, you know, we really appreciate your patience during this time while we get this rolled out. We by no means believe that it's going to be a perfect process, but we're really working hard to make it be as painless as possible. And there may be some tweaks as we go and as we figure things out and get more efficient at getting kids in the school and moving through the hallways. We may be able to make some adjustments to those times so that we spend more time in the learning environment. But we're always here to answer questions. Please feel free to email or give us a call. And again, just thank you for your patience. We're super excited. I'm super excited. I haven't met many of the students. So I'm excited to get them back on campus and get to say hi to them. So yeah, I'm excited. Makes me a little teary, sorry. So yeah, spring break's coming. I'll dry my tears by then and we'll get them all in school starting the 29th.